everybody. Okay, so you watched the first video short time back. Let's install this barrel into this rifle. So here's what we've got now. We've got the factory barrel, and all I've got on there is a kid compensator. So the overall length right now is 20 inches with the compensator. This barrel is 20 inches. So when I get it on there and done, that's what it's going to be. And then I'll put the comp on the end of that. And we'll see how she does. Get it out to the range. Now I'm not going to be able to show you a whole lot, so I'll try and just snap some pics as I go. But we're going to start out by pulling off the scope at the mount. I'll mark everything. And then we'll pull the action out of the stock, which is all in the instructions for the rifle, so it's easy to do. Then we'll pull off the fore end. Then we'll head in and get this in the clamp. Unbolt the barrel nut. Put in the new barrel. Torque it down. Reassemble. I hesitate to say it should be simple because I don't want to put the kibosh and, you know, the hairy eyeball on it. You know? But you know how things go. Best laid plans, right? So let's get to it. Stand by. Okay, about 5 minutes later, there we go. The only thing you have to remember, and again, it's in your instructions, is your action has to be in safe to pull the action out of the stock. Also, a pointer, make sure that your block is very snug in here. If this has any kind of movement, you know, it's going to affect accuracy. So if you have to put some tape on the sides, aluminum tape, or anything that can rigid this up so that it's more solid in this position, so it doesn't move, is a good thing. Because your lower lug sticks right in there and your front lug is right in here. So this is a big part of your bedding. So make that tight in your action. Just a simple thing to do while you got your gun apart. All right. Now we're going to pull this barrel nut off and put on the barrel, put the barrel nut back. Simple as that. I say that, let's see what happens. There's my dots for my optic. That's just a paint marker that I use for all my guns. I just put a dot on the rail. The back one there wasn't quite dry when I pulled it off. All right, I'll come back when we get it on. Stand by. Okay, came apart without much difficulty at all. I put the receiver in a clamp. I clamped it through here. There's some flats on the bottom of the receiver, and of course the whole top of the rail. And I just broke the nut loose and it came right out. This is pretty snug in there. I guess that's grease, anti-seize, I'm thinking. But we'll take a look. I'll get it all wiped off, cleaned off. I get the new one pressed in. It doesn't press in, it slides in, but hopefully it's snug. I haven't tried it yet. I want to get it cleaned out first. Stand by. All right, it looks like it in fact was some kind of gold colored grease or anti-seize. I like to use anti-seize, so that's what's going to go back on. The nut goes back on. It's a little bit snug when it torques all the way down. So I don't see anything in the threads. So what I'm thinking is they might have put it on with too much torque and stretched them a little bit. Not good, but it's just speculation. But let's see. Again, I can't show it to you, so I'm going to put it on, and then I'll come back. A little bit of grease. The nice tea still in there. So I'm going to put it on, and then I'll come back to you and show you what it looks like. We'll do a dry fit, and then come back. So stand by. All right, the barrel is not a tight fit into the receiver. I would like to see it a little bit tighter, but it does snug up when it's all the way seated, and I think that's that pin that's there. That pin that's there extends in, and that's the pin that you saw over here in that slot right there. Well, they made them both the same size on this one. On the factory barrel, they made the slot and the extractor the same size. That doesn't focus very good. But on this aftermarket barrel, it's smaller. So let's hope that there's no issue there with that and the bolt going in. Well, actually, let me slide that in right now off camera and see if it looks like there's any issue there before I force anything. Yeah, there's something different here. All right, the bolt goes most of the way, but not all the way. So I got to look at this, see what's going on. I'll show you without moving anything. Why my focus has gone batty. But there's two things there that touch. So your extractor is on this side, and this, I'm not sure exactly what that does, but it probably does part of the same thing, but it slides into a slot in there, and it doesn't want to go. I can force it, but I don't want to force anything. I want to see why it doesn't go smoothly. So I will experiment with this and I'll come back. Okay, here's the factory barrel, and it does the same thing, but it cams and closes just fine. So I will try it with the aftermarket. Okay, it was just my being gingerly, which is fine. You want to make sure you don't want to force anything. It does close and cam close just fine. Open, close, just fine. All right, let's put it back together and I'll come back to stand by. And there we have it. One thing that you need to remember is the barrel nut fits very tightly, so you'll have to take that thread protector off. This is the factory barrel. I put the thread protector on here to protect the factory barrel because I pulled that compensator off and I put it on the Shaw barrel. So there we go. Let me get you off the tripod and look at this up close, and you can tell me what you think. Stand by. And there it is. The only difficulty I had was nothing related to the barrel. This Anarchy Outdoors magazine release has a spring in it up inside here, and it kind of sticks out a little bit, and you have to push it out of the way before you slide that block down in, otherwise you're going to bend it. And I pulled it out to show you guys you had to put tape on or make sure that your block was tight. And when I slid it back down in, I didn't catch that spring, so I bent the spring. Didn't destroy anything, everything's fine. I was able to tweak it back, but you have to use a really fine screwdriver and get in there and pry forward, push the lever forward. The magazine's going to fall out. Push the lever forward, and the spring is actually pointing backwards. So the spring is actually trying to push this forward, which helps with magazine retention. But there's plenty of spring pulling back to overpower it. Anyway, so totally unrelated to the barrel. Everything went together fine when I pulled this barrel off and cleaned it and put it back in to test the extractor. It fit exactly like the aftermarket barrel. So I was worried this was tighter. It was tighter because of the grease, anti-seize, whatever was on this barrel made it tighter. So I put the copper anti-seize that I use for everything gun related on here, and it went together really nice. No problems, wiped it all up. So now we got to get to the range. Looks really good. Looks really good. Now it's 22 inches overall with that compensator on it. This was an 18.5, I think, 18 or 18.5, and then 20 or so with the comp on it. So now we're 20 with the extra 2 inches for the comp. So we're off to the range next chance we get. God bless everybody. It's going to be an awesome addition. CW out.